Hello again, everyone. This is Vincent and Jimmy. We're Couch Coaching. We're here to make the predictions for the Pittsburgh Steelers weeks 5 through 8. Our predictions for them for the first quarter of the season would be that they will be 3-0, but the Steelers ended up being 1-2. They had a couple of tough matchups that they had an opportunity to win in their first 4 weeks. They played Denver week 1, which they lost. The Jets week 2 and they won, and the Oakland Raiders week 3 and they lost. And then they have a bye week this week. Well, their 4th week. They had a real opportunity to win week 1 against Denver.
They did. I think I really think the issue with that was being that Clark was out, because Clark has the sickle cell trait that when it played in high altitude affects it.
Right.
Peyton Manning played tricks with Troy Polamalu. Troy would come down, he would throw a pass, Troy would be back away, he'd run it with Willis McGahee. So, I mean, it was a cat and mouse game the whole time.
The whole time. It was very interesting to watch.
And then again, of course, Pittsburgh having to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast to play that kind of a game at a late night, the different time zones. And not to say that's an excuse by any means, you get paid to play. So, but yeah, with that being said, they came up with a loss there. They played the Jets at home. They won.
All right.
They looked really good. I mean, that final drive they had, held the ball, there's 15 minutes in the quarter, held it for 10 minutes.
Right.
And then having to go back out to the West Coast the next week to go play the Oakland Raiders. They had a tough schedule to begin with. Doesn't look like it's going to get a whole lot easier, but they should catch a couple of more breaks later on in the season. I'm not really worried that they're 1-2.
Right.
But I did have them 3-0, and that just did not happen.
Yeah, I had them 3-0 also. They had, again, the 2 losses that they had, even though on paper it appeared to be that they got blown out by the Denver Broncos, but they were in that game, but just like Jimmy was saying, with Peyton Manning, he when they started doing the hurry-up offense and kept that undermanned defense on the field, I think it greatly affected them, especially at that high altitude, and so they kind of pulled away at the end of the game. And then with the Oakland game, they had the game. They had it. Yeah. But, they were up by 10 going into the 4th quarter. And they just, Oakland, I think what really happened is, because at first I really thought they'd win this game. I'm an Oakland Raider fan. And I think what really happened is that the Raiders were just desperate. Yeah. And when teams play with desperation, you just never know what'll happen. Right. And so the Raiders were able to pull out that game. So right now, like Jimmy said, they're sitting at 1-2, but it's not a bad 1-2 if that even makes any sense.
Yeah, because I mean, up till today, New England was 1-2, and then they beat the Buffalo Bills to be 2-2. So
convincingly.
So I mean, it's not a bad 1-2.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like they started the season 0-3, going into the bye week, but the bye week did come at a good time. A lot of teams don't like to have the bye week early. But I think actually it really helped the Steelers on this one, because they get Troy back, which he had a calf muscle, soreness, and then of course Harrison will possibly be coming back, and then Mendenhall, he'll be good to go, which they actually need that. I was actually surprised with the Todd Haley offense, the way that Pittsburgh is actually running the ball with just Dreyer and Rainey and Redmond. Right. So I mean, with Mendenhall in there and in the offensive line gelling like they are, I really like to see what that run game can do.
Right. I agree with you completely. To this point, I would have thought that they would run the ball more, but they've been still passing, pretty effectively, and I think it's more like a 60-40 split. I thought it would be more like a 50-50. Right. If not 60-40 going the other way, more running. Right. But they are running more than what they did under the previous offense coordinator. Thank you, Bruce Arians. And again, their week 1 through 4 record is 1-2, and we're going to talk about their week 5 through 8 matchups. In week 5, they'll be playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and they'll be playing them at home. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, because they have an extra week basically to prepare for the Eagles. Right. And the Eagles really haven't looked that good, even though they're 2-1 at this point. They're a real ugly 2-1.
Yeah, that's a real ugly 2-1, because they could have easily been 0-3.
Exactly.
Baltimore almost got them, And I mean, really, honestly, it's because of Michael Vick. I can't blame it on any more else than Michael Vick. You can't be that good of an offense and turn the ball over and expect your defense to keep winning games for you. And that's exactly what's happening.
Right.
They're allowing the defense to stand up and do what they couldn't do last year. And they're actually standing up this year and allowing, the offense not to go anywhere, and the defense is carrying them.
Exactly. When because the Eagles like I said, at this point they're 2-1, and they barely escaped Cleveland with a 17-16 win, barely escaped Baltimore with a 24-23 win, and then got hammered by Arizona, 27-6. So I don't know who's going to show up. Is it going to be Jekyll or is it going to be Hyde? I don't know which one of these Eagles teams is going to show up. But I feel like Pittsburgh ought to win that Week 5 matchup.
I agree. I'm gonna say that they should start Week 5 through 8 1-0.
Right. So we both agree that they'll win that Week 5 matchup against Philadelphia, and then after that they have the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee.
I like this matchup.
Yeah,
I do too. I really do. I do like this matchup only because. With the Chris Johnson not being able to really start anything, Kenny Britt, we don't know what's going on with him yet.
Right.
Locker, this is actually Week 4. They just got finished playing the Texans. He's injured with the shoulder, so we don't know exactly what's going on with that. Hasselbeck didn't look good at all. So really, honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this matchup can do. I'm going to go ahead and just stop it there. I'm gonna say they're gonna be 2-0.
Hey, I think they'll be 2-0 going in this for their 5 and 6 Week 5 and 6 matchup as well. Chris Johnson he finally showed up. Actually, he ended up running for 100 yards against the Texans, but I mean, they still got blown out. So really, 100 yards in a blowout doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But with the injury of Jake Locker and Kenny Britt had something. I think he had an ankle injury, which kept him out of this Week 4 matchup. And so I don't know how severe it is. We don't know how good he's going to play, and then we don't know how severe this shoulder injury is to Jake Locker that he received today. But again, even having said all that, I feel like Pittsburgh has enough talent, more than enough talent, to go into Tennessee and beat Tennessee because their defense hasn't stopped anybody.
Right.
So
and you're missing a lot of people on the defense that you had last year when they saw each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really think that Tennessee going against Pittsburgh will actually come out on the bottom of this one. I think Pittsburgh will win this one. They'll be 2-0 in Week 6.
Right. So we both have them going 2-0 for their Week 5 and 6 matchup, and then their Week 7 matchup. I'm telling you, they're going to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. Now these Bengals. These ain't your daddy's Bengals.
Yeah.
These are the new Bengals.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one.
And these kids can play. Now, Andy Dalton, what they call the redheaded rifle.
Yeah.
That kid can play.
And not just that, he's got Hawkins, which is another wide receiver, and AJ Green. These young receivers are starting to form around Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's got a full season under his belt already.
Right.
He looked good last season, led them to a playoff game. He's looking good this season. I mean, they are 2-1, but this being a divisional game, I have to admit I'm actually kind of nervous about this one.
Yeah, because the key is it's a divisional matchup, and divisional teams always get up for their divisional opponents. So I don't know. I still feel like that Pittsburgh can win this game, but again, these kids they play hard, and they're not scared. I think they got beat earlier this year they got beat by Baltimore, and they got it handed to them against Baltimore in their Week 1 matchup. But
and that's the only thing that leads me to decide that Pittsburgh could actually go away with this, because if you look in the AFC North, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are very, very similar.
Right, exactly.
I mean, and then it goes Cincinnati, and then it goes to the Cleveland.
And after those, just like I said, after those two, after Pittsburgh and Baltimore, it's a big drop-off. Even though Cincinnati plays hard, it's a big drop-off in that division between them, and then it's an even bigger drop-off when you come from Cincinnati to Cleveland. No offense, Cleveland Browns fans, but I'm not lying.
Yeah.
So I feel like, they should be able to win that matchup as well. And then by that time, they should have all these players that are hurt back.
Yeah.
This may be the game.
Not barring any
other setbacks.
Right.
This may be the game that Harrison actually comes back, since it'll be at home. and hopefully Harrison will be able to play after, because he had a knee surgery in the off season, and so he hasn't come all the way fully back. That's
right.
Correct,
He's
right?
still getting some swelling and stuff like that on the knee.
Right. So this may be the game that he comes back and he shows out against the Bengals. So I think we both feel like they'll win this matchup against the Bengals.
It'll be tough, but I do feel that Pittsburgh should come out on top.
Right. And I'm sorry, they're at Cincinnati, not at home. They're going to be at Cincinnati. But I think that's the game that Harrison will definitely be back by. Okay, and so now we come to the Week 8 matchup against the Washington Redskins.
I have to admit, I like what the Washington Redskins are doing.
Yeah, they are playing some phenomenal ball.
And not even that. I mean, I think they finally got their quarterback situation done, and so even with the second-hand wide receivers, it's excluding Pierre Garçon,
right,
who is the wide receiver out of the Colts camp,
right.
He's doing a great job, and this matchup right here, I can honestly say that if Washington, starts getting some more wins and starts feeling confident, this game could actually go to Washington.
Well, this game to me is the one that presents the biggest problem, because again with RG3, not only can he throw the ball, but he can run the ball too. And when you have a dual threat like that, which I guess they'll already see a dual threat like that when they play Philadelphia.
Well, when you say dual threat like that, I'm thinking back to the Denver game they had in the playoff last season
against Tim
Tebow. Tim Tebow could not throw, but he could run, so they would crowd the line.
Right.
RG3 can throw.
Right. So you
can't just send 8 people in the box and say run on us because we know you can't throw. We'll just play man.
Exactly.
No, you've got to expect the pass and you've got to expect the run, because that's what RG3 does. He's another Cam Newton.
Right.
Because Cam Newton can sit in that pocket, act like he's going to run, and throw that deep ball to Steve Smith all day long. And then the same thing with RG3. RG3 can sit up there, act like he's going to do a pass and then do a QB draw, and you all your guys are out in zones or playing man, and they're following everybody.
Yeah, those types of quarterbacks, they cause a lot of problems, because you can still maintain all your lane responsibilities, and the guy just he can keep the play alive, and then if he escapes out the pocket, because he's a world class hurdler.
Yeah.
In college, so when you got a guy like that can be a real dual threat like that, and they have some real talent on the outside, that can cause a real problem. But again, I've said all that to say this. I still feel like, because they'll be at home, they can beat Washington as well. So I feel like from this second quarter of the season, they'll be 4-0.
I could honestly say that too. I can honestly say they'll be 4-0 as well.
Yeah.
I do respect RG3, and I'm sure they respect him too.
Right.
But I just feel that right now, with the offense clicking the way that it is on the Pittsburgh side of the ball, Redskins defense just hadn't shown me enough to say that they can do a whole lot. So I really am going to go ahead and go out there and say that Pittsburgh should be 4-0 at the end of the second quarter of the season.
Right. And so I believe if they end up, so we both agree they'll be 4-0, which would run their record to 5-2. 5-2 by the end of Week 8.
Right.
So I think we both agree that they'll be 5-2 by the end of Week 8 and both 4-0. And the Steelers should win these matchups. I mean, they're all winnable games, but again, this is the NFL.
That's why you
play the game. We thought they'd be 3-0.
Yeah. But
they're 1-2. So again, this is going to wrap up our week 5 through 8 matchups for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you like what you saw, please leave your comments at the bottom of the page, right at the bottom, or hit us up on Facebook, Couch Coaching 12. And thanks for stopping by.